Isn't it fascinating how, the older we get, we often find ourselves carrying more than just years? We accumulate experiences, of course, but sometimes, without even realizing it, we also gather burdens, emotional baggage, old habits of thinking, or expectations that no longer serve us. It's like we're on a long journey, and instead of shedding weight, we've added unnecessary rocks to our backpack, making each step heavier than it needs to be. Many of us reach our 60s and beyond, feeling the drag of these unseen weights, wondering why the joy and freedom we anticipated aren't quite as vibrant. We might find ourselves stuck in old patterns, perhaps feeling a little less energetic, a little more prone to worry, or simply not as content as we'd hoped. But what if I told you that a significant part of living a truly happier, even longer, life after 65 isn't about adding new things, new supplements, or new rigorous routines? What if it's actually about letting go, about consciously, gently, releasing certain things that have been holding us back? It's a powerful secret, often overlooked, and one that can unlock a profound sense of lightness and freedom in your later years. In this video, we're going to explore 4 crucial things that you should consider letting go of after 65, things that are surprisingly common but profoundly impact our well-being. By the time we're done, I think you'll see that some of the most powerful changes come from within. From a shift in perspective, watch to the end for something that will truly surprise you. Now, let's dive right into the first thing many of us carry, often unconsciously. Long past its expiry date, the heavy burden of past regrets and unresolved grievances. Think about it for a moment. How much mental energy do you spend replaying old scenarios, wishing you had said or done something differently, or feeling a pang of bitterness about someone who wronged you years ago? It's like holding on to a stale sandwich in your fridge. Not only does it take up valuable space, but it can actually make everything else feel a bit off, a bit sour. This isn't just a metaphor. The scientific evidence is increasingly clear. Holding on to chronic stress, which includes unresolved emotional pain, regret, and anger, can have a tangible detrimental effect on our physical health. It elevates cortisol levels, impacts our cardiovascular system, weakens our immune response, and can even accelerate cellular aging. Imagine your body constantly running on high alert, even when the threat is a memory from decades past. That's what holding on to these things can do. It keeps us tethered to a past that we cannot change, preventing us from fully experiencing the present and looking forward to the future with optimism. We tell ourselves, "I have every right to be angry," or "If only I had done X, my life would be Y." And while those feelings are valid, clinging to them becomes a self-imposed prison. It's not about denying the pain or the injustice, but about realizing that holding on to it punishes you, not the past event or the other person. So, how do we begin to let go of this deeply ingrained habit? It starts with acknowledgement. Instead of pushing those uncomfortable memories or feelings away, allow yourself to acknowledge them without judgment. Yes, that happened. Yes, it hurt. Yes, I wish things were different. This isn't about wallowing, but about giving voice to what's truly there, because only then can you start to process it. The next crucial step is forgiveness. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Forgiveness. After what they did, never. But here's the key distinction. Forgiveness isn't about condoning the actions of another person or forgetting the hurt. It's about releasing yourself from the emotional grip that person or event has on you. It's a gift you give to yourself, not to them. When you forgive, you're essentially saying, "I am choosing to free myself from the emotional chains of this past event. I refuse to let it define my present happiness any longer." Now, sometimes, the hardest person to forgive is ourselves, for perceived mistakes, missed opportunities, or choices we now regret. Self-compassion is vital here. Remind yourself that you did the best you could with the information and understanding you had at the time. We all make mistakes. It's part of the human experience. Another powerful technique is reframing. Can you find any lesson in the experience? However painful. Did it teach you resilience? Did it clarify what you truly value? Did it show you who your true friends are? Even in the darkest moments, there can often be a tiny spark of learning that, if acknowledged, can transform a purely negative memory into something with a sliver of wisdom. Practicing gratitude for what you do have in your life right now can also act as a powerful antidote to dwelling on past regrets. When your mind starts to drift to those familiar old hurts, gently redirect it to something you're thankful for in this very moment. The warmth of a cup of tea, the sound of birds outside your window, a pleasant memory from yesterday. This isn't about ignoring the past, but about building a stronger connection to the vibrant reality of your present. Forgiveness and focusing on the present aren't one-time acts, they're practices. Like tending a garden, some days it might feel harder than others, but with gentle persistence, you'll find that the weight begins to lift, and you'll walk a little lighter, breathe a little deeper, and live with more genuine joy. Letting go of these old burdens truly frees up immense energy, emotional space, and mental clarity for everything else that makes life rich and fulfilling. And speaking of finding freedom, let's smoothly transition from the past burdens we carry to something that often impacts our present joy: the pervasive need to please everyone and live up to external expectations. Think about how much of your life, perhaps without you even realizing it, has been dictated by what you thought others expected of you, or by the unspoken rules of society, family, or even just your local community. Perhaps you took a certain career path, maintained certain friendships, or even pursued hobbies not because they truly lit you up, but because they seemed like the right thing to do, or because they would earn you approval. This habit, often developed early in life, can become incredibly entrenched. As we get older, it can manifest in countless ways: saying yes to social engagements we dread, feeling obligated to entertain certain family members, continuing to volunteer for things out of guilt rather than genuine desire, or even maintaining appearances that no longer resonate with who we truly are. The constant striving for external validation, the fear of judgment, or the worry about disappointing others, creates an immense internal pressure cooker. It's exhausting, isn't it? It drains our precious energy, squanders our time, and perhaps most painfully, it prevents us from truly connecting with our authentic selves and living a life that genuinely excites us. When we're constantly trying to fit into someone else's mold, we lose sight of our own unique shape. This isn't to say we shouldn't be considerate or kind, of course, but there's a vast difference between thoughtful consideration and a perpetual state of people-pleasing that erodes your own well-being. So, how do we begin to shed this habit and reclaim our authenticity? It starts with self-awareness. Take a moment to reflect. When do you feel most pressured to conform? Who are you trying to please most often? And what is the underlying fear if you don't? Is it fear of rejection, disapproval, or simply conflict? Once you identify these triggers, you can begin to make conscious choices. The next step, and perhaps the most liberating, is learning to set boundaries. This often involves the simple, yet incredibly powerful, act of kindly saying no. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their time, energy, and well-being. You can say no graciously, explaining that you have other commitments or that it simply doesn't fit your current capacity. Remember, you don't owe anyone an elaborate explanation for your choices. Prioritizing your values is also key. What truly matters to you at this stage of your life? Is it peace, creativity, connection with certain people, time in nature, learning something new? When you align your choices with your deepest values, the need for external validation naturally diminishes. You become your own compass. Embrace authenticity. This is your time to be unapologetically you. Wear what makes you comfortable. Pursue hobbies that genuinely interest you. Spend time with people who uplift you. And express your opinions respectfully but honestly. The people who truly care about you will celebrate your authenticity, and those who don't, well, their opinions probably aren't serving your happiness anyway. This journey of letting go of external expectations isn't selfish. It's self-preserving. It's about honoring the wisdom of your years and living the rest of your life on your own terms, which is truly a gift not just to yourself, but to those who love the real you. And building on this liberation of living authentically, let's now talk about something deeply connected to how we perceive ourselves as we age, letting go of the belief that your best years are behind you and embracing age-related limitations. This is a subtle but incredibly powerful mindset that many of us absorb from society, and sometimes from our own internal dialogue. We hear phrases like, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks," or we see media portrayals that focus solely on decline and frailty in later life. We might even catch ourselves saying, "Oh, I'm too old for that," or "My body just isn't what it used to be, so why bother?" This mindset is not just defeatist, it's profoundly limiting. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, preventing us from pursuing new hobbies, learning new skills, staying physically active in ways that adapt to our changing bodies, or even just embracing new social connections. It blinds us to the immense wisdom, perspective, and unique opportunities that come with age. Your best years aren't necessarily a point on a timeline. They can be right now, if you choose to make them so. The truth is, while our bodies do change, the human capacity for growth, learning, joy, and contribution never truly disappears. In fact, many people find a renewed sense of purpose and creativity in their later years precisely because they've shed the pressures of earlier life stages. So, how do we break free from this limiting belief system? First, challenge those assumptions. When you hear that little voice in your head say, "I'm too old," pause and question it. Is it truly a physical limitation? Or is it a mental one? Is there a modified way to approach what you want to do? Can you embrace lifelong learning? This could be anything from picking up a new language, learning to play a musical instrument, mastering a new cooking technique, or diving into a subject like history or astronomy. Studies consistently show that engaging in mentally stimulating activities helps keep our brains agile and vibrant. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you've learned all there is to learn. The world is vast and full of wonders waiting to be explored. Staying active is also incredibly important, but it's about adapting, not stopping. You might not run marathons, but perhaps brisk walking, swimming, gentle yoga, or even chair exercises can keep your body mobile, strong, and energized. The goal is consistent movement that brings you joy and feels good, not to replicate your younger self. Focus on your strengths. With age comes a wealth of experience, wisdom, empathy, and perspective that younger generations often lack. How can you leverage these unique strengths in your life and in your community? Perhaps it's mentoring, sharing stories, or simply offering a calming presence. Finally, connect with diverse age groups. Seek out friendships and relationships with people of all ages. This helps to break down ageist stereotypes, keeps your perspective fresh, and allows for a rich exchange of ideas and experiences. By letting go of the notion that age defines your capabilities, you open yourself up to a whole new world of possibilities, proving that every stage of life has its own unique beauty and potential for joy. And as we embrace our unique journey and let go of the idea that age limits our potential, there's one more powerful thing we can release to truly live with more peace and happiness: the pursuit of perfection and unrealistic standards. This can show up in so many areas of our lives, often without us even realizing it. Perhaps it's the relentless quest for a perfectly clean house, even when your energy levels aren't what they used to be. Maybe it's the pressure to always host the most elaborate gatherings, or to maintain an ideal image of health, wealth, or family harmony that simply doesn't align with reality. This striving for perfection, this constant feeling that things should be a certain way, and often a way that's unattainable or incredibly draining, leads to immense stress, anxiety, and chronic dissatisfaction. It robs us of the joy in the good enough, the beauty in the imperfect, and the peace that comes from simply being present and accepting what is. We become so focused on achieving an ideal that we miss the simple pleasures and the genuine connections happening all around us. When we set impossibly high standards for ourselves, our loved ones, or even the world around us, we're setting ourselves up for constant disappointment. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, over and over again, and wondering why it never feels right. This often manifests as self-criticism, impatience with others, and a general feeling of being overwhelmed because everything seems to fall short of a hidden, flawless benchmark. So, how do we gently release the grip of this perfectionistic tendency? The most powerful tool is self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a dear friend. If your friend was struggling to keep their house spotless or feeling overwhelmed by expectations, you wouldn't scold them. You'd encourage them to rest, to lower their standards, and to accept that sometimes good enough truly is good enough. Extend that same grace to yourself. Next, actively embrace imperfection. Look for the beauty in things that aren't flawless. A well-loved old armchair with a worn patch tells a story. A home with a little clutter feels lived in and warm. A garden with a few weeds is still beautiful and productive. This isn't about letting things go entirely. It's about recognizing that constant, exhaustive effort to maintain an impossible standard steals joy and energy that could be better spent elsewhere. Redefine success. Instead of judging yourself solely on outcomes, focus on effort, intention, and progress. Perhaps the goal isn't a perfectly organized closet, but simply one that allows you to find what you need. Perhaps the success isn't a flawless dinner party, but the laughter and connection shared around the table. Cultivating gratitude is also a profound antidote to the pursuit of perfection. When you consciously appreciate what is not your health, your home, your relationships, even the simple act of breathing, the need for things to be perfect starts to diminish. You realize how much abundance already exists in your life. Finally, learn to delegate or prioritize. As we age, our energy levels naturally shift. This is not a weakness. It's a reality. What tasks can you let go of? What can others help you with? What truly needs your attention? And what can be done to a lesser, yet still acceptable standard? Releasing. The relentless pursuit of perfection isn't about becoming lazy or uncaring. It's about becoming wiser, about how you spend your finite energy and time. It's about creating more space for joy, peace, and genuine connection. Allowing yourself to breathe and appreciate life as it truly is, rather than chasing an elusive ideal. So, we've talked about letting go of the burdens of past regrets and unresolved grievances, freeing ourselves from the constant need to please everyone and live by external expectations, challenging the limiting belief that our best years are behind us. And finally, releasing the exhausting pursuit of perfection and unrealistic standards. Each of these steps, taken individually, can bring immense relief. But when you begin to address them all, the cumulative effect can be truly transformative. It's like cleaning out a cluttered attic of the mind and spirit, making room for lightness, for new growth, and for a deeper sense of authentic happiness. Remember, making these shifts isn't about grand, immediate overhauls. It's about gentle, consistent awareness and making small, intentional choices every day. A little more self-compassion here, a quiet no there, a conscious redirection from regret to gratitude. A moment to challenge an "I'm too old" thought. These small changes, like pebbles dropping into a pond, create ripples that spread outwards, making a profound difference to your health, your peace of mind, and your overall happiness. The beauty of this stage of life is that you have the wisdom, the perspective, and frankly, the right to live on your own terms. It's your opportunity to fully embrace who you are, what brings you joy, and to curate a life that truly reflects your deepest desires, free from the burdens that no longer serve you. I genuinely hope that some of what we've discussed today resonates with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Have you found certain things particularly hard or surprisingly easy to let go of as you've gotten older? Share your insights in the comments below. Your wisdom might just be the inspiration someone else needs. If you found this video helpful and encouraging, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content aimed at helping you live your happiest, healthiest life. Thank you for joining me today. Keep nourishing your spirit, valuing your peace, and above all, live your best life at every age.